Aha. Okay, so previously I've recorded my three younger brothers' memories of the supernatural from childhood up until growing up, and now it's my turn. And Matthew's agreed to listen, and that's great because I don't think he's heard many of the stories, so it'll be brand new to him.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, because of our age difference. Um, what, you're 10 years older than me. So you were in high school doing your own thing, and then you went off to college.
yeah.
And then shortly after you came back from college, I was gone. I went off and started living my own life. So I haven't had a whole bunch of experience hearing these stories. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you'll notice my background is the family crucifix that I inherited. I forget how I wound up with it, but it's been a part of our life since,
Nobody
you
else wanted
referenced
it.
it.
Well, I think cursed. Nobody else wanted it.
Well, it could be. I have some stories to tell about, I had a religious experience in the sixth grade, which is not supernatural, but it directly involved this crucifix was a big part of the story. So I'll tell
Yeah,
you that.
you
All
at
right.
one point you wanted to be a priest, right?
Well, yeah, that was because at my earliest age, from the earliest time I can remember anything, I was going to be a priest. Um, and Mom had some reasons. She had some supernatural stories about my birth that I don't believe, but it was in her mythology about me, and to explain to herself why I wanted to be a priest. And it was only in the sixth grade that she talked me out of it. And that was great. I'm not sure I would have been a very good priest, but it was always in my head. That's just what I was going to be. But when I decided not to do that, um, I had a series of dreams that this crucifix was directly involved in because it hung up in the hallway of the home in which we lived in then. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another story. So if we're going to do this chronologically, the very earliest thing I remember is remember, Dad was in the Air Force, and he would go on these 1 year remote tours of duty where the family couldn't follow. So I
Yeah.
remember he went to Thailand. I know he went to Thailand because that's what Mom told me. I didn't know what Thailand was. But there was a brief time, and Jody, if she was around, she was an infant. Mom and myself were staying up in Arizona. Her mom, Velma, and step grandpa Earl lived in a mobile home up there in the woods of Arizona, up there in the mountains. And they were building on an addition, a brick addition to their home to make it a real home. And
I'm
why would you?
sorry. Uh, that's just sounds okay. With a name like Earl, I expect you to live in a mobile home.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
but then it had a brick addition to your trailer.
well,
Okay.
it worked, I think. But
The pallets would have been cheaper.
this is let's see. So what year would have this been? It would have been 66 or so, 65. I was just a little tiny kid. And anyway, we were staying on the property where Mom was there to help them build onto this thing. And the little trailer we lived in was one of those tiny pull-on ones, that you hook up to a car. So it had just
Uh-huh.
a little tiny bedroom, a little bathroom. I mean, it was really just a tiny little trailer. And I remember Mom made me lay down, take a nap, or she told me to take a nap. And in those days, I would, when I covered myself up, I would put the blankets underneath me. But the idea being that anything that wanted to come out from underneath the bed or any monsters, they couldn't reach me because the covers were underneath my body. So I'm
You're
protected.
just
They
you're
can't.
just making a Ralph burrito for
Yeah. Well,
them.
my thinking was, though, it's not like they could, pull the covers off or pull, they would just have no way to get to me. I was protected. Um, so I'm laying there and I'm cocooned and wide awake. And all of a sudden, something reaches down or something grabs the blankets from above and rips them off me. And the blanket and sheet fly across the little room and hit up against the opposite wall. And I sit up in bed just on the bare sheet and look around, and I'm totally alone. There's nobody there. And I I just knew that there was a spirit, a ghost was playing with me. I jumped up, ran down the little hallway, was going to run outside yelling for help, right? But
Mm-hmm.
even then, I knew that mom would ridicule me. She would say, "Oh,
Oh
Ralph, you're
wow.
trying to make something up. Go back to bed. Take your nap." So I stopped and I sat there, and there was a little screen door. And by tilting my head, I could see mom and the grandparents out there working in the yard or building whatever they were doing. So I was comforted. But I also kept looking behind me to see if anything was coming down the hallway, and there wasn't. So I sat there just watching, scared, because I knew that something had ripped the covers off me. But I also was more afraid of mom's ridicule than I was of the ghost. So I just
Wow.
sat there. To this day, since I've been reading about this stuff and experienced it over the years and our own lives, um, I now understand that ghosts or spirits aren't necessarily tied to a place. There are floating entities, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this was a non-malicious floating entity that just sort of passed on by, could see what I was doing, and said this would be funny. So
Either that or it was a pedo ghost.
a pedo ghost. Well, he wasn't very good at it because I took off running. I assume it was a he. So that's my earliest scary story memory.
Well,
Um,
that would freak me out though.
well, yeah, it did.
And
So so anyway, the next genuinely supernatural thing that happens is sixth grade was pretty pivotal. Dad was in Iceland, 1 year tour of duty. Um,
mm-hmm.
At that point now, there's all of us kids. I'm 11. Um, you guys are you and you,
I'd
Chris,
have
and
been one.
Alex are very young. What?
I would have been one.
Yeah, yeah, you're tiny. Um, and Mom had a habit of oh disappearing. She'd go out for a day or two, leave me to take care of everybody, which I did just fine. Um, I got very good at making pancakes and oatmeal and eggs and taking care of the kids. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but we lived in a neighborhood that was lower middle class. And I don't know if those neighborhoods still exist today because this one, to my memory, was totally integrated. We were all united by our relative poverty. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
rented a home. These were all freestanding homes. It was a neighborhood, but nobody had any money, as I remember it. And we had this, the house was at least 4 bedrooms because you three brothers shared a room. Uh, None of you took up much space. You were babies. Jody had her own room, being the girl. I had a room, and Mom had one. So remember, Mom and I are sitting up one night watching TV. Everybody, all you younger siblings, are in bed, and uh, Mom, Mom and I are sitting there watching the show, and Jody comes out of her bedroom, and she's crying, and she says, "I'm scared. There's a gun on my wall." Have you ever heard this?
No, a
Oh,
gun?
yeah. So she goes, "There's a gun on my wall." And Mom says to Jody, "Jody, go back to bed. It's past your bedtime. You can't stay up." And Jody starts crying. She goes, "No, there's a gun on my wall." Mom says, "Ralph, go see what she's looking at." Mom was drinking wine. She used to get these big old jugs, big old gallon jugs. So, I get up and I go walk in Jody's bedroom. And sure enough, there's the white outline of a pistol on it was a bare white wall. And on there was a
Uh-huh.
white outline of a pistol shining. Well, the lights are off, and there's a window, and there's also, street lights. So I immediately assume that it's just a weird image from the street light. So I say, "Jody, that's just a shadow from the lights outside. Watch." And I go over and start moving the curtains, right, to move it and mess it up.
Yeah.
The gun doesn't move. It stays exactly there.
Oh
So
wow.
So I walk on over to the wall and I'm trying to figure out where's this light coming from. So I take my hand up to the wall and I'm moving it around the image, just trying to figure out what's this light source. Well, the gun doesn't waver; it's still there, no matter where I put my hand. Well, remember, Matt, I'm just 11 years old myself. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, Mom, there's a gun on Jody's wall. And so she comes in and she goes, well, I'll be damned. And she does the same thing I did, moves the curtains around, uh, waves her hand in front of it, trying to figure out where the light source is, turn off the lights, turn them back on, turn them on. The gun goes away because, you know, the lights are bright in the room. Turn it
Mhm.
back off. There's the pistol again, shining clearly. It's not even a question. It's like we're interpreting this shape. It's a pistol,
Yeah.
short stub nose pistol. Well, as we watch, it slowly fades away and disappears. You know, Mom's like, well, that was weird. You know, we just sort of blow it off. Um, and we go back to watching TV. Well, the next night, and it was early, I mean, late at night, I'm awakened by a black woman who I didn't really know. I just knew she was somebody that lived down the street. She's
Okay.
shaking me and she's going, Ralph, wake up. We need your help. And I'm like, I get up out
She's
of
in
bed.
the house.
Huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, this woman who was just in our house, you know, and she comes waking
Yeah.
me up. So she's, you know, we need your help. So I come in the living room and there's Mom. She's wasted. She's laying on the sofa. She's got a pistol and it's at her head. And
Whoa.
she's going to kill herself. She's mumbling, life is too hard. I just can't stand it anymore. I don't want to live. I'm sorry. Uh, and what happened, by the way, it wasn't just that black woman. There were several neighbors. I remember in my memory, all of them were black. You know, it turned out Mom had gone to a party down the street, right? And,
Uh-huh.
and then I don't know why they were there, because again, I didn't think to ask these questions. What made them come into the house and, you know, take a look, see what was going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're all standing there. They're afraid to reach in and try to get the gun because they're afraid Mom's going to pull the trigger. So they want me to do it because to get the gun away from her, because they figure since I'm her son, she's less likely to pull the trigger, right?
Or, you know, it could be too much more traumatic if she did pull the trigger when you go in to get the gun, and then you're like, grow up thinking it's your fault. You killed your
Well,
mom.
you know, I was a smart little kid, but I wasn't introspective at that second. All
Right.
I did is this: I saw what was happening, and I just said, "Mom, what are you doing?" And except my voice wasn't deep; it was probably more like, "Mom, what are you doing?" And I reached over and I just took it out of her hand. And the moment I had it in my hand, one of the adults reached over and took it away from me, right?
Yeah.
And you know, we got her to bed, and the next morning, she claimed not to remember anything. She also admitted that she'd gone down to have a drink, and she said somebody must have slipped something in her drink, a pill or something. God knows, man. All I know is, uh, I think that pistol on the wall. She admitted she'd had the pistol, kept it hidden
Uh-huh.
from us for protection, since it was a mother with 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
It was some type of foreshadowing.
Yeah, I think it was foreshadowing. I think it was a warning that and it could have gone either way. I think there was a warning, not because it's just sort of an idle, hey, guess what's going to happen to you tomorrow, but it's sort of a heads up, you know. And
Yeah.
so there was an alternate timeline there where yes, Matt, you're right. She could have pulled the trigger, but she didn't. You know, I didn't even think. I just reached in and took it out of her hand. So
That's crazy.
yeah. I thought so. Yeah, but that was kind of stuff, you know, we grew up with.